What's happening, everyone? Feeling good in the neighborhood? Welcome to Dan the Man Talks Real Estate. And I am your host, the one, the only, the man known as Dan. Dan the Man. Real estate broker associate with eXp Realty, the elite brokers. Yes, the elite brokers. Who are the elite brokers, you might ask? We are an association, like a tribe, a group of mega agents and brokers across the country who really are prioritizing helping make elite humans, elite agents, men, women across the country and all over the world that are just of the utmost service to their clients, operating at a prime level, a really, really high level in terms of just being a human, being a brother, a mother, a sister, a friend, a colleague, a real estate agent or broker, any facet of life that they are in and that I am in. We are just striving to be the best and highest versions of ourselves. So that is the elite brokers. If something like that, those words, character, integrity, power, influence, joy, happiness, love, if anything like that is something that is inspiring to you, reach out to me. You can just subscribe to the channel and reach out to me directly, and we'll send you information on how to become an elite builder, or even just what we do in a given day. If you're an agent, you want to find out a little bit about eXp, the elite builders, just reach out to me, and I'll send you info. So today we are going to talk about objection handling, things like that. When you're on a listing presentation and you get done presenting and the seller may say to you certain things like, well, we want to think about it, when you know that they have to make a decision and they're going to be selling their property. We want to think about it. I don't know, your commission's too high, and it's usually standard. Or, we want to think about it, or the price is too low, or your contract length, things of that nature. We'll go over all of that today, and we'll do some role play. But before I do, I just want to share an experience I had over the weekend. It relates to something, like my personal life. Now, I know this is a podcast about real estate, but man, I've just been affected by this for the last, 5 or 6 days. And it's just got me in like this a state of, I don't want to say unsettled, more like it's making me think. So contemplating things like that, you're just like, have you ever been driving and your mind starts to wander and you're thinking about something that might have happened or something you have to do, and the next thing you know, it's like about 2 or 3 minutes later, and you've either passed your exit, you've passed the place that you're supposed to go, and you're like, where did that 2 or 3 minutes just go? Like, I feel like it just went into the time continuum, and I don't even remember what it is or what happened. That's been me for the last 5 days. So I just want to acknowledge it and share it, and it's going to kind of piggyback into my current state, because I just feel like lately I've had a black cloud over my head with just the amount of nonsense and crap and bad news that has happened to me with just personal, financial, it's going to end, but I'm going to acknowledge it, because my life is not like social media, which I know that everybody that's on social media puts things out there that are great, and my life is so good, and I love seeing those, and that's fantastic. My life is not like that. I have trials, tribulations, nonsense, hurdles, things that I got to deal with every day that I'm going to acknowledge here, because they're just present, and it's how I'm feeling right now. I'm not in a place of, joy and happiness. I'll get there, but I'm working through just things that have happened and that are affecting me in a negative manner. And believe me, at the end of the day, I always say these are uptown problems, but it doesn't minimize them in any way just because my problems are different than somebody else's. But I am aware that, it's not, am I going to figure out where we had that before? Where am I going to live? What am I going to do? How am I going to eat? Things like that. Am I going to get water to live? Like, that's not what I'm talking about. But these are issues that I have. And I know I do that a lot. A friend of mine actually acknowledged it. He said, dude, you minimize things all the time. And if they're a problem, they're a problem. And I was glad he said it, but I do that because I tend to take care of things myself. I don't involve others. I don't have like a significant other. You can just go and bounce your ideas off of your wife. I don't have that, or a girlfriend. So I deal with them. For the majority of my life, I've dealt with things myself and just, self-actualize them, realize them, and then said to myself, all right, power through it. This is what you got to do. You just got to power through it. Acknowledge the problem, have your 10-minute pity party, and then just power through it and move through it. And I tend to deal with issues and problems and things in two ways when I have bad days. Number one is I read. Number two is I give. Because giving always just makes me feel better, no matter what it is, whether it's money, time, advice, an ear, a word, whatever. It just makes me feel better and takes me out of that emotional state that I'm in and am currently in right now. So I want to acknowledge that. But so what I did over the weekend is I went to see a medium, and I do that from time to time. So in my travels over the last, I'd say 15 years, 20 years, I've met numerous mediums, had readings by them. This one I've come to meet, and I've been to her twice, and just the gift that these people have to be able to communicate with the metaphysical is just beyond me. It's amazing, truly. I was mentored by somebody for about 12 years. I think I've talked about that before, but the life that I had prior to, the one that I have now, I feel like, again, I've had two lives. The one previous, when I met this woman, she was a family friend, and I was having problems, personal problems, and I just couldn't, and, God bless my mother, just, parents are always trying to figure out and solve your problems so you don't have pain. And she just couldn't, and referred me and said, maybe you should give this person a call. I did. And then we just took a journey of 12 years to where I'm at now. And one of the gifts she had was she can take your dreams and break them down to you and tell you what they mean in your life. So what I would do is write them down, and I'd call her and read it to her. And man, she just had it to the T, like to the freaking T. This is what this symbolizes. This is what this symbolizes. This is what it's basically sharing with you, which is really you sharing with you. It's just your unconscious. And it was amazing. So I probably have two huge bins of letters that we've written back and forth to each other about life, and her sharing with me and me sharing with her. And it was amazing. I mean, she's 89 now, and she has dementia, unfortunately, but I do still see her from time to time, probably once a month. No, almost twice a month. I'll go out and see her, take her out to dinner and such. But I'm so grateful to her. So that was her gift. This woman's gift is just communicating with the other side. And usually when I go to a medium, they just tell me things about myself, that what's going on with me presently, what did go on with me in the past, and then what's going to, some future pacing. You may think about this may, something like this is going to be happening to you. And I'll tell you with 100% certainty, they're always right. So, but never anybody else coming through. Well, this time, two people were with me. A friend of mine who happened to pass on my birthday over a decade ago, and my grandmother who passed about, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago. I think it was 3 years ago. And we did not have a good relationship, my grandmother and I. She did not recognize me. I have two other siblings, and they were recognized way more than I was, to the point where I would get, and remember, I'm young, they'd get cards with money in it for Christmas and their birthday, and I got nothing. So it just, and for reasons unknown, it just, that was how she felt about us. We didn't have a good relationship. I'll just leave it at that. So anyway, I'll give you a little bit of backstory. When she went into the hospital, she had a breathing tube. My whole family went down because she was going to be passing soon. We went down, saw her, everybody left. And then the next morning I wake up and all I'm hearing in my head is, go down and see your grandmother. Like literally somebody standing behind me saying it, only it wasn't anybody standing behind me. I acknowledge it. I went down, I saw her. I stayed with her for about 4 hours, held her hand and was massaging her hand. And then I was speaking to her, got emotional. Some tears were involved. And then it was time for me to go. We spoke. She took the breathing tube out for only about 5 minutes. She could only have it out for about 5 minutes. We spoke, and then she started crying. And then I left and told the nurse, if something happens, call me. And within an hour, she passes. So for some reason, she wanted me there, knowing she was going to be going. Now, to this day, I have no idea why me out of anybody when you disliked me the most out of the family. Well, she's communicating with the medium that because of the life she had, it was ridiculously hard. And I know details about it that I wouldn't imagine and want on anybody. But it happened to her. Because her life was so hard, she needed and wanted somebody that she felt at peace with and calm with her when she was going to transition to the next side. And I happened to be that person. And I promise I'm going to do my best not to get emotional here. But anyway, that happened. And then as I was talking with her, just questions were asked to the medium. And then I'm just like, Jesus Christ, this is my grandmother coming through. And then she made some motions, said some things, and I'm like, that's definitely her. So that happened. And then my friend, who happened to pass on my birthday, came through. That one was a harder one too, because I'm not used to having anybody come through. And then she starts asking questions. She starts motioning. I immediately knew it was him. He starts making jokes. I'm like, yeah, that's definitely him. And then it was just acknowledged that he's with me. He's been with me. And I just didn't know how to react to it. I was very happy to hear from him. And because we grew distant, as time went on. Still always a good friend. I'd at least see him once a year, probably twice a year. Well, I shouldn't say that. Maybe even more than that, because he still lived in the town I grew up in. So I'd see him. We'd go boating and have some laps and stuff. And we rode motorcycles together. Myself, him, and two other buddies of mine who I'm still friends with to this day. We all had crotch rockets. So wheelies and zooming through traffic at 180 miles an hour on Route 80 and Route 3. We're racing Porsches and just doing things that you when you don't have a care in the world, you're doing them. And he was one of us. And he just happened to pass and came through. So that was really an emotional time. This happened on a Friday that I was talking to the medium, and he was coming through, and she said, he's going to be sending you signs that he's with you. And I knew what the signs were. They were going to be change. Like if you're you're just out and you see dimes on the ground, that's him. And before this even happened, I don't think I've found a dime in my life on the ground or anywhere, like a dime. So I leave her Friday. Saturday, I'm at the gym. Walking up to the gym door in Hoboken, there's 2 dimes on the ground. So I start laughing. Okay. I get in my car, I go home, I'm starting to do my day. Saturday night, or afternoon, I should say, I'm at a gift. So I ran to Target to get Legos. I'm walking out of Target. I look down at my car at the driver's side door. There's a dime. I was like, all right, so now I'm just like, you're just going to like let me know you're with me though at every moment, at every moment. So since I've had this encounter, I've found five dimes on the ground. And I haven't found a dime in my life before this. So this is just like, again, it is, you have to be open to it and believe it, that there is communication from one side to the other. And I do. So this has just been a powerful weekend and next few days, and just one where I'm just kind of in just thought and allowing. It's almost surreal. I guess the word would be like surreal. It's real, but it's not real. So that happened. And then just as the days, have gone on, if something could go wrong, and it has nothing to do with the fact that I went to a medium. I just want to preface by saying that nothing of what I'm going to share with you now is going to be because I went there. It's just deals falling apart, things financial like that are just not, you know that they're there, and all of a sudden they're not there. Like something happens and they're not there. Some personal things is happening that I could have done without it. And it just stockpiles. Like generally my life will go that way. Like you're either going to be really quiet and on this plateau for a long time, and then you'll have some growth, and then the plateau for a while, and then maybe a dip, and then you're going to get some growth. Like I'm in the dip right now, and it's really frustrating to the point where like I'm cursing, I'm frustrated, I'm in the car, and I'm just screaming at people for people do dumb shit all day behind the wheel of a car, me included. But I just let it go because it's nothing that you can, what I do is controllable. What somebody else does is not. So I just let it go because there's anything I could do about it. But man, when you're in just an emotional state of frustration and anxiety and fear, like any little thing will get to you. Things that normally don't bother you will. At least what's true for me is this. And I just feel like I've had this cloud of shit over me for the last, 3 days, 2-3 days, to where if something can go wrong, it will. Now, again, I know that that's not true, but it feels that way. I don't know if any of you have ever felt this way, but it's how I'm feeling right now. And like sometimes I just say to my creator, like, God, like, all right, whatever I did to you, like, I'm fucking sorry. Like, I'm sorry. Whatever I've done to annoy the cosmos, I'm sorry. Like, I have no idea what I did, but I feel like I did something. So this is just how I'm feeling right now. And I wanted to acknowledge it, wanted to recognize it, and bring it out in the open because, again, everything that I throw out on, social, I don't want it to be like, hey, my life is grand and I don't have any problems. Life is great, and I don't have hurdles, and everything is just growth. Like, that's not realistic to me. It isn't. Yes, are scenarios lessons to us? Absolutely. This is a lesson to me. I'm going to figure out what it is at some point. But when you're going through it, at least what's true for me is when I'm going through it, the last thing that I want to hear anybody freaking tell me is, hey, man, there are no coincidences. Like, life is just a bunch of lessons. Like, yeah, no fucking shit. I get that. I understand that. But I'm trying to move through this, and what you're saying isn't helping me get to where I need to be. So, like, I get it, and I'll get through whatever this is, but man, is it just annoying and frustrating, and, I'm ready for it to be over. Let's just say that. very ready for it to be over. So I know this was a huge detour from real estate and talking about objections and presenting to sellers and things of that nature, but I just, again, wanted to acknowledge that this is where I'm at right now. So for everybody that's out there, it is okay to acknowledge when you have lousy days, days that you wish weren't there, days that just things are not going your way, and it is freaking frustrating. That's fine, and it's okay. We are all human beings. Every human being that I know, the people that I know, don't have lives where stuff doesn't go wrong and things that can affect you in a major way don't go your way. That happens to me too. And I'm in it right now. It's like I'm swimming through muck and I'm going to get to the other side, but damn it, I'm in that muck right now, and I need my own ways and things to get me through these times, because they happen. And again, I'm acknowledging that it's here. So I will get through the other side of this like swampy muck that I'm swimming through. It's hard, but I do know that I just said that it annoys the hell out of me, but it's true. I do know that challenges make us stronger. Challenges make us better. Challenges make us wiser. And challenges are what it gives us the backbone to like push us through, because to have everything go your way, where is the growth there? Where's the motivation there? There isn't any, to me, to know that if everything is going well and great and grand, I need some crap to push to get me to push through. I need some struggles. I need this. As much as this sucks, I need it. I need things to suck sometimes so I can push through it. Because sometimes I'm not, when things are going great, you have these banner years, financially and physically and emotionally and mentally and spiritually. Like, you have these great times. Yeah, they're great, but you can start to rest on your laurels, and that is the freaking last thing I want to do is take a breather and be like, all right, like, I'm good for now. No. I want to continue to plow forward and push forward and grow and grow and grow. And if I know that there's not going to be any hurdles, then I need somebody that's faster than me and stronger than me and better than me to push me, but that person needs to be me. It's not somebody else. I need that person to be me. So if yesterday I was like, for example, today is the day that I'm feeling this way. I can put my head on the pillow tonight and say, listen, man, today was shit and it's over. Tomorrow is not going to be shit. Why? Because I'm going to get up early like I did today. I'm going to exercise like I did today. And even like when I was at the gym this morning, it was kind of like me just going through the motions. But then like something hit me today and I was like, man, just take your frustrations out on those weights. And I did, man. Like, I was hammering those today, even though the gym was mobbed. And God love the gym being mobbed in January and not mobbed in like the beginning of March and middle of March. I love that. I do love that my birthday is significant because it signifies change to everyone, January 1. And I love that that's, the day that I happen to, incarnate on this planet is a day that everybody makes changes, which is fantastic. And one of them is I'm going to get physically healthy. But if you really look at the calendar, everything is just linear. December 31st to January 1st is just another linear day. It doesn't, you're not moving up a ladder. It's just linear. But human beings take that and say, all right, now it's a whole nother time. 2022 is gone. And now you got this whole new like blank canvas that you're going to make your year. I was like, to me, it's just another day. But health-wise, people make these changes. We're going to go to the gym and I'm going to change my health. Well, in January, it's great. That's why I don't like going to the gym in January and February, because by March, it clears out. All the people that realize how consistent you have to be to go to the gym every day to make changes on your body, it doesn't happen. And I wish that it did, but the reality is if you talk to any gym manager and ask them what their busiest 2 months are, it's January and February. And you ask them, how does it go after that? And they're like, well, it tends to taper off. And I know this because I know somebody who manages a gym. So it's just real. It's reality. It's an accurate assessment of reality. And I would always implore, let that not be you. Be consistent. And I know we talked about consistency last episode, but man, just be consistent, be intentional about a choice you're going to make in your life at the beginning of the year. Like we're in the beginning now. It's January. What is it now? 10th. Like this is middle of January now. We're almost in the middle of it. So you generally people are making New Year's resolutions and changes and things like that. If you're going to do that, just stick to it, man. I don't do those. I don't make these huge, January comes and I'm going to make it. No, man. Like January to me is no different than August. It's the same thing. It's just one's cold and one's warm. It's all linear. Like my growth, the pattern of growth that I associate with myself doesn't come in the beginning of the year, in the middle of the year, and the end of the year, and in quarters. Like, no, it's daily. My growth comes daily. And that's what I'm talking about. So like yesterday was really, really, I was very ready for the day to be over. Put my head on the pillow. And when I was journaling, I said like, this day's over. Tomorrow's a new day. And then today hit and, I'm still dealing with just crap that keeps coming up. And I'm like, man, the muck is still here. I'm swimming through it, but I'm going to get to the other side. Now, is it going to be tomorrow that, these things just are going to cease? I don't know. And they're just things that are putting a real crimp on my daily routine and my daily activities. So it'll end. It's just, I got to navigate through it. So if you're going through it and when I'm speaking these words, they ring true for you too, just acknowledge it, recognize it that you're going through it because it's okay. It's okay to say, man, this sucks. It's okay to say, yeah, right now my life sucks. It's fine. That's okay to say because it does. It's a realistic thing. I'm never going to judge somebody on how they feel. I love people say, you shouldn't feel that way. Well, how the fuck do you know how I'm supposed to feel? I forgot. You're in my head too. Like you won't hear me ever say that. No, you shouldn't feel that way. I might say something like, well, have you thought about this? That's something that I would say, but you shouldn't feel that way. I'm a grown ass man. I'm a grown adult. I don't need another adult or anybody else telling me how I should feel. That's not something you're going to hear come out of my mouth. So I share with that. So any of you that are out there that are going through it and you're having a hard time, things just aren't going your way, you're feeling like there's a black cloud over your head too, like I'm feeling right now, it is okay. Man, it's fine. Acknowledge it, realize it. Go outside and for 10 minutes, just scream and curse and use every word you want and get it out of your system. I'd always encourage going to the gym and smacking around some weights, throwing some weights around, and maybe going for a run there or going for a run outside, something to get that energy out of your body. And then once you do, I'm telling you, you're going to feel a million times better. And I did. So that would be my advice. Okay, y'all. So I thank you for bearing with me as I kind of did a little bit of a sidebar in the beginning and telling you about the medium and stuff. But let's now get into some objections. Some objections that sellers have once you've presented, you've called them, maybe they were expired, for sale by owner, just listed, just sold, circle prospecting, whatever the case is. You've called them, they've acknowledged you, they've said they want to meet with you, you've properly pre-qualified them, asked the right questions, they are ready, willing, and able to sell, and are open to signing with you if what you say makes sense to them and they feel very comfortable and confident with you, they're ready to sign. You've asked all the right questions. You get to their home, you've properly presented to them, you've offered them value with your services, and how you're going to be serving them to the absolute highest and best level that you know how. And it's now ready for them to, just sign a listing agreement and get started. And you get, well, Dan, I appreciate that, but we just want to think about it, make sure they're making the right decision. How many of you get that in your listing agents or agents and brokers? That is common. It is something that most of us get as listing agents. And, I want to think about it. I just want to think about it. And really all that is just a delay tactic. They know that they need to sign. It's just human nature that we just want to delay because a decision needs to be made. So, you're the best agent out there. You know that you are going to provide them just massive amounts of value, massive amounts of service to them because you are the best agent there is for them. So you basically just, you can offer them, hey, I totally get that, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. And I know this is a big decision for you. And, just imagining you really want to end up making the best decision possible for yourself and your family. Is that right? Yeah, that's right, Dan. Yeah, of course. And I just want to be clear, hey, I am super excited to be one of your considerations, by the way. And I usually find that, when it comes to a big decision like this, it's just easier to talk it out. So, when we break it down, there's really three elements, three components to that decision-making process as far as, when a seller is going to put a home on the market. Can I share those with you? Yeah, okay, perfect. Now, the first decision a seller needs to make prior to putting their home on the market is if you're actually going to sell the property. Now, I'm aware that when we spoke earlier, you were, very clear. You are not interested in being a landlord and renting the property out. You really just want to get the property sold, net as much money as possible, and move on to your next destination. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. All right, perfect. So that first decision's been made. We can check that box off, okay? Okay, yeah. Excellent. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, the second decision the seller needs to make prior to putting their home on the market is the price. And in going over the two pricing strategies, seems like you both are very comfortable, with that second pricing strategy of just pricing it more in line with what is trading in your direct area. And what that's going to do is ensure that you're going to get the most amount of buyers willing to pay and also going to get you to your next destination on time. So, and that price point seems to be in the $650,000 price range. Is that right? Yeah, seeing what has sold in the area, it looks like, 650 is really going to be a number that we're comfortable with. And we're ready on that number. Perfect. So that decision's been made, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. We can check that box off, okay? Okay, great. Now, the final decision a seller needs to make prior to putting their home on the market is just which agent or broker is going to help them. And I mean, just looking at, the marketing, prospectus and that we've sent over to you, you've done your homework as far as researching us, our social proof, read some of those online reviews. We've had the good fortune of helping over, 30 people in your direct area, relocate for absolute highest and top dollar. So I'm just going to ask flat out, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, do you feel comfortable and confident that myself and my team, we can help you get to the next destination on time and also just really selling your home for the absolute highest amount that the buyers are willing to pay? Yeah, Dan, that's why we had you out. We interviewed a couple other agents, we were interviewing you as well, felt very comfortable with you. It's why we had you out. So, yeah, we do feel comfortable. Perfect. So we can check that box off. Okay. The third decision's been made. Yeah. Okay. Now, Mr. Misso, do you want to hear the great news? Yeah. What's that? I think you've already made your decision. Let me explain. You definitely want to sell the house. We're in a pricing agreement as far as a strategy to sell the home. And you feel really comfortable and confident with me that I can get the job done for you and get it done at a very high level. So why don't we do this? We just go ahead, list a property with me today and, we'll put us to work for you. And what I'll do as a professional courtesy to you is I'm going to contact those other agents and let them know that you've already found what you're looking for. But if they have buyers, we'll let them be the first ones to bring those buyers through. And what that's going to do is allow them to be involved in the process, but all the while not letting you waste any time getting you down to the Jersey Shore in the time frame that you want, and then getting your property on the market for absolute highest value. Does that sound fair to you? Wow, you'd really call the other agents, huh? Absolutely. We've done it before and we'll do it again. All we need to do is just move forward with the paperwork. Do you have any other questions before we just get started and list the property? No. That is, and I want to think about it. Again, it really is just a delay tactic that a seller uses. They know they need to sell, and it's okay. Like I'm not gonna say I've never done it. Of course I've done it when you need to buy, I don't know, something, a phone or something expensive, a computer. I've done that with a computer because I know I need to get it. It's the actual making of the decision. So it's just a delay tactic. That's all. So I want to think about it. Now, I'm sure every agent that's presented might have gotten that. There's also the commission. You get, your commission objections, which is, hey, what can we do with the commission? It's really high. Okay, I can appreciate that, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. Once we can come to an agreement on that professional fee, would there be any other reason we just can't move forward and get started today? No, I think that's probably the last piece of the puzzle. Okay, perfect. So share with me, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what were you thinking as far as the professional fee? Well, we had somebody do it at 5%. We actually had an agent come in here and say they would do it at 4%. Is that something you can work with? Wow, so 4%. Okay, interesting. Can I share with you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what would be concerning for you and your family's bottom line if we took that approach? Well, yeah, what's that? Okay, so, what we know to be true is we have these 3 homes right here that I printed out for you that are on the market right now, and they're going to be our direct competition once we list, right? Well, yeah, we're going to be competing with them, right? And then if I turn my iPad around here, because you're going to have one there, now we have another 3 homes that are on the market right now that are going to be our competition as well. So that makes 6, because we know that inventory is actually rising in this area. So we have 6 properties we're going to be competing with, right? Well, yeah. Okay. And were you also aware, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, that the buyer agents that are out there that are going to be showing this home as well, they get paid on what they sell. They don't actually get a salary. Were you aware of that? Well, yeah, I guess I kind of figured you guys all get paid on commission. Yeah. So now knowing that they get paid on what they sell, and we have 6 properties here that are offering out that standard professional fee, and then we come to the market, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, and we're discounted 1, maybe even 2 percentage points. Which one of those properties do you think those buyer agents are going to be more excited to show their buyers? The ones that are at that standard professional fee are now ours that's entering the market 1, maybe even 2 percentage points lower. Well, wow, now that you put it that way, yeah, I guess the other ones. Yeah, and why do you think that is? Well, I mean, the professional fee is higher. Yeah. And I mean, look, the funny thing about that, Mr. Seller, is the more money that the agent gets, the more money you actually get. Can I explain to you what that means? Yeah. Well, think about it. If you have more than one agent competing for your property and they're competing with each other and they're going up, what happens to your sales price? Well, it would go up. Exactly. So as your sales price goes up, so does the professional fee. So as they make more money, so do you. Yeah. So now are you beginning to see why discounting the professional fee could actually cost you more money in the long run? Yeah, I didn't really actually look at it that way. Exactly. So let's do what's best for you and your family's bottom line, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. Offer out that standard professional fee. It's going to ensure 2 things. Number 1, that you will get the absolute most amount those buyers are willing to pay. And number 2, more importantly, it's going to ensure that you are going to get down to the Jersey Shore, or whatever, insert motivation here, in the time frame that you want and that you need. Does that make sense to you? Yeah, it makes sense. All right, perfect. Do you have any other questions before we just take care of the paperwork and get you started? No. So that's a professional fee. And then sometimes you may get, will you take less? Hey, Dan, can you, let's offer out, whatever, but, can you take less on your side? And then you can, say, oh, okay, I can appreciate that, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. So it sounds like we're in agreement that, you're seeing value in the manner of just offering out that standard fee to those, buyer agents, ensuring they're going to be showing your home and offering out the most amount as far as offers to you. Now it just sounds like you're asking me, should I take less on the listing fee? Well, yeah. Okay. What's interesting about that, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, is, one of the skills you're going to be hiring any agent for, any broker that you decide to engage with. One of our skills you're going to be hiring us for is the skill of negotiating. Because we're going to be having conversations, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, about the price of your home without you present. Have you thought about that? Well, no, actually, I haven't. Yeah. And I mean, let me ask, how long was the previous agent here before they just offered to discount their own fee right in front of you? I don't know. I just asked and they said they would. Wow. Okay. So it sounds like within maybe like 5 to 10 seconds, they just offered to do that. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting too. Well, what I'm aware of too is Mr. and Mrs. Seller, 1% of 100, that's only 1%. That isn't that much. But 1% of 3%, that's 33%. That's a third. Let me ask you, would you discount the price of your home by 33% just to sell it? Well, no, of course not. Of course not. It'd be crazy, right? Yeah. Then let me ask you, why would you engage or, do business with an agent or broker who right in front of you just offers to discount the value of their own fee the minute you ask for it? I mean, if they do that to their own fee, what do you think they're going to do to your sales price when an offer comes in and it's not at list? Do you think they're going to have the ability to negotiate? Well, no, I guess not, based on what they did with me. Yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Sauer, I may be tough on protecting the value of my own fee, but you can be sure I'm going to be equally as tough fighting for you tooth and nail for every dollar of equity that you've earned in this home over the last 9 years that you've owned it. Because I'm going to imagine that's going to be very important to you in the agent that you hire. Is that right? Yeah. Awesome. The good news, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, is you are hiring a master negotiator, somebody who knows what it takes to get every dollar that we can out of those buyers making offers on your home. Does that sound like somebody you'd want representing you? Yes. Awesome. Any other questions before we just take care of the paperwork? No. All right, so those are two objections. And again, I say objections, but they're really just questions that a seller has that are unanswered, or maybe even a complaint, as far as the commission goes or the professional fee. But what I would say is those are the two major ones that you'll get as listing agents. But I will encourage you to have your presentation just down and smooth and just ingrained in your brain, because the more confident you present to a seller, the less you're going to get objections, because they feel and know that you are an expert, you're confident, you know exactly what you're doing, and you're going to be able to get them exactly what they want, which is a sold home at the highest amount possible, able to get them to their next destination in the exact time that they want. So if you're able to convey that to them on the appointment, you will rarely, if ever, get an objection of anything other than, let's just sign right here and move forward. Perfect. So you usually won't get an objection. So those are the two that you may get the most, which is, I want to think about it, and the professional fee is too high. If you are seeing different objections specific to you and how you're presenting, let me know. Like, subscribe to the channel, shoot me a quick DM or a message and say, hey, have you gotten this objection? Or what would you say here? reach out to me. Let's get interactive. And I'm sure you guys in different markets are seeing different objections. So let's go over them and we can role play them together. So if you are getting them, just send me a message of what they are, and I can go over and do another episode with the objections that you all have sent to me. And I'll do them like one at a time. So, but again, this is all stuff that we go over in the role play group, the mastermind group in the morning and the mastermind group in the afternoon. We just do objections and, when you're presenting and pre-qualifying and things of that nature. But mostly we do, in this market, you'll get objections of I want to think about it, price is too low, commission, contract length, things like that. So if there are specific ones you guys want me to go over, just let me know. And I will do them line by line and do another episode on them. So yeah, reach out to me. Would love to hear in different markets what you guys are seeing and women are seeing. And also, if you've gotten like a really, really specific one that maybe that's the first time you've ever heard it, I'd love to hear them too. So we can kind of role play and go over how to answer that objection or question that the seller has. So you can end up getting a listing, because that's what we want at the end of the day. You are the best agents for the job. I am the best agent for the job. When you go out there and you are sitting in front of these sellers and presenting to them and conveying them your knowledge, your wisdom, your drive, your character, your integrity, and everything that you're going to do to sell their home and sell it at the highest number so they can get to their next destination, that is the goal. That is what you need to convey to them, and you will, and you do when you role play these objections and the listing presentation on a daily basis. You will. So those are the objections we'll go over for today. Again, if you have other ones you want me to go over, just send me a message and I'd be more than happy to do that. All right, y'all. So we're going to get to, I love this. This is like, I'm really, really excited about this because this book is so freaking good. We're going to get to the book review. This is a book that I read a long time ago, and it's not, I don't get to it once a year. I'd be lying if I said I did, but I do wish I do, because the little passages that are in here, and I'm going to read a couple of them to you. They're so powerful. This guy is just one of the most complete humans that I've ever encountered on television and on old interviews. We all know who he is. It is Bruce Lee. But again, my interactions with him have only been on television, obviously, because he passed, way before I would never have a chance to meet him. I shouldn't say that. I just didn't have it because he passed so soon. But anyway, you know what? That wasn't a good hit.
Too much of a tangent.
Mm-hmm. Start from the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah, start from the beginning. Good. All right, y'all. So now we're going to get to the book review, and I love this. This one really, it stood out to me. I haven't read it in probably about a year to a year and a half, but there's so many passages in this book that I love. I do my best to live by. And man, like when I think that I'm disciplined and I'm, intentional and I got everything kind of like in an order that I like because I'm doing it consistently, this guy just puts me to shame, man. Like he is just the definition of like repetition, consistency. I mean, enough said. It's Bruce Lee. I love, I mimic a lot of what this gentleman who moved on and passed on way too early because of just how powerful he was to the world. And if you see some of his old interviews, you can just feel and see his energy. He just had it, man. Like he just had it. So the book is called Striking Thoughts, Bruce Lee's Wisdom for Daily Living. So it's just passages that he's come up with and lived by and believes in. And it's basically a collaboration of, I guess, how he lived, how Bruce Lee lived, his philosophies on all things like life related. So again, I have an appreciation for him and just his rock solid discipline for a long time. He's inspired me with a level of wisdom that he's had. I mean, he makes great movies too. I mean, to be honest, Enter the Dragon is like one of my favorite movies because that's the best fight scene I've ever seen in a movie. And I know people say that, you know, as far as car chases, like Bullet is the best car chase they've ever seen. Enter the Dragon, the fight scene at the end is the best fight scene that I've ever seen in any movie that I've ever watched. So that's one of the reasons I love Bruce Lee. But I'm going to read just a few passages that I've adopted to myself in life because he's just somebody that inspires me to be better and really helped me come to a realization of you're not to compare yourself to others. You compare yourself to you, who you were yesterday. Are you better, wiser, stronger, and did everything you could today to better the person you were yesterday? So that's some of the passages that I'm going to read from you. The first one is, I love this man. He often said, a teacher is never a giver of truth. He is a guide, a pointer to the truth that each student must find for himself. A good teacher is merely a catalyst. Love that, man. Love that. Because a lot of times they say, you know, there is no bad students, just bad teachers. I sometimes tend to disagree with that, but how Bruce put it is, you know, very pertinent to me. A good teacher is merely a catalyst. Another one is pliability of life. Love this. Be pliable. When a man is living, he is soft and pliable. But when he is dead, he becomes rigid. Pliability is life. Rigidity is death, whether one speaks of man's body, his mind, or his spirit. And what I am aware of is prior to coming into knowledge myself, you want to talk about rigid? Like that was me to a T. I had my opinions, I had my ways, and that was it. So, and if you talk to people close to me years ago, I was not a fun person to be around. So I am very, very grateful and thankful that I was able to become pliable over time. So you can change. People can change. Another thing, and this, I have this circled right here with like big stars around it. Is versus should. What is and what should be. What is more important than what should be. Too many people are looking at what is from a position of thinking what should be. Don't we get frustrated and angry and annoyed? And I'm probably in that right now as we speak, of thinking about what things should be as opposed to what is. I'm in this mired in this funk of this cloud of crap around me because I'm thinking about how my life should be and how things should be instead of what is. Well, what is right now? What is I'm navigating through a difficult time where things just aren't going your way in multiple facets of your life. And, you know, the good news is, and this is biblical, and this too shall pass. And this too shall pass. Thank the freaking good Lord that this too shall pass. So, striking thoughts, Bruce Lee's wisdom for daily living. My vibration level raises anytime I read passages out of this book. So, and yours will too. So Bruce Lee's wisdom for daily living. Man, vibe higher. Read the book. All right. And now the end of the show. I do love doing these. By the way, I'm just going to make a quick side note. I love doing Danisms. Again, a good friend of mine who now lives in Nashville, I want to say. I think Megan lives in Nashville. We were on a yoga retreat, myself, her, another friend, actually 3 friends of mine. 2 of them still live here. they started joking because I made like some goofy names for certain things, and they called them Danisms. So, and it just stuck. So whenever I see them, they're always like, "What's a new Danism?" Or, "Oh, hey, here's a Danism." So I love the fact that now it's like morphed into this thing where there are things that I live by that I call Danisms and that they do too. So one of them is, and I took this actual, we rise by lifting others. And, I mentioned before that when I'm in a funk, I'm going to actually put this right here. How about that? That's what we're going to do. Next to my Illy Builders hat and my tee, we're going to put, we rise by lifting others. So again, for me to help get out of funks that I'm in, and I'm in them from time to time. I'm in one right now. I do two things. I'm either going to read a ton or I'm going to give. And again, whatever giving means doesn't have to be financial. It can be relational. It can be an ear. It can be advice. It can be time that you're going to spend with somebody. Whatever the case is, volunteering. I would highly recommend doing that because it's very selfless work. And at the same time, you're serving others at the same time. So we as humans, I believe, this is what's true for me, the highest acts that we can do are not acts that we can do for ourselves or acts that we can do for others. Because really at the end of the day, we're all just made of the same things. It doesn't matter what color you are, or what race you are, or what, gender you are. You're born with 2 ears, 2 eyes, 2 arms. Like we're all the same, man. 1 mouth. Like we're all the same. We're all made of the same stuff. We're all just little bastions of interconnectedness that are experiencing life like inside this sheath of skin that we have. This is my consciousness of experiencing life, and then yours is yours and someone else's is someone else's. But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, we're all the same thing. So if I can sit here and not have a good day or a good week or even a good month or a good quarter and have somebody else, because of my actions, bring a smile to their face, affect their lives in a positive manner, again, there isn't an act that it to me is higher than doing that. You're going to raise your vibrational level because you're probably, if you're like me right now, you're vibrating at a very low level. And I know that, and I can feel that as I'm saying that word, vibrating. I'm vibrating at a lower level right now. Again, I'll break out of it, and this too shall pass. It's not permanent. That's the great thing about life. Nothing is permanent. Things are temporary. Life is constantly fleeting and changing. And our pliability, which is a great thing Bruce Lee said, your ability to be pliable is going to determine your ability to move through, and my ability to move through this funk is how pliable am I. So the act of service to others, to me, is the greatest act that you can do. And then for me as well, to get out of whatever funk you're in or I'm in. So I'm not going to speak of what I do because then basically that takes away the potency of it. So I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. And I'm thinking about it now. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And by the next episode when we shoot, I guarantee you I will not be where I'm at now. Hopefully by tomorrow I won't be, but we're going to see how tomorrow comes when tomorrow comes. So Danism, we rise by lifting others. I love this. I love looking at this when it's in my apartment on any given day. So I hope this serves you all and inspires you to do something great and powerful and meaningful to somebody else or for somebody else to help them, because you just don't know what a hi, how you doing? Hey, how's your day going? You have no clue what somebody's going through in a given day. So for you to ask somebody that question that may even have been contemplating suicide that day, you've acknowledged them, and that may change their mind. You just don't know what someone's going through. So again, I will leave you with that. We rise by lifting others.
Sweet.
I'm going to leave it here so when I end. All right, let me just do the outgo. Oh, shit. You know what I didn't bring? Fuck.
The script?
Yes.
Let me see if I have it.
Really? How fucking awesome would you be if you had it?
I might.
Who's better than you?
Hold on, because I might not have it.
I asked that to somebody this morning on the phone. She's from Florida. She's like some rep. And she had what I needed. And did, like, you know, we worked everything out. Thankfully, one of them. And I was like, damn, Janae, who's better than you? And she's like, I don't know. I was like, what do you mean you don't know? I was like, the answer is no one.
No.
Yes. And she goes, that's a great question. I'm going to say that from now on when someone asks me that. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, fuck yeah, man. Who's better than you? No one.
I don't have those notes that you wrote on it, though. So take a look at it.
It's okay.
I have the printed copy. Look at that. Even better.
Hey.
But take a look at it and see what you had adjusted on your copy.
Oh, God, I don't remember. We'll just do some takes.
Okay.
It's all good. We'll just do some takes with my rise by lifting others. Come on, man. That's what I'm talking about, Willis. That's what I'm talking about, Willis. Hells yeah.
Ready when you are?
Cool. Hell yeah, man. That's what I'm talking about. I love that. That's what I'm talking about, Willis. I should fucking say that. So yeah, I love this. My rise by lifting others. I was like, that's what I'm talking about, Willis. Hell yeah. So listen, y'all. The best way you can support this podcast is by subscribing. If you feel that this podcast brings you value, you enjoy listening to me rant and rave about real estate and talking to mediums and talking about discipline and having shitty days and things of that nature. If you're good with it and you enjoy it and you think it brings value to you, and you're just looking maybe to continue your education on real estate, if you're an agent or a broker and you want to find out more about what being an elite builder means, strengthening your mindset, things of that nature, just click that subscribe button, send me a message. Be more than happy to send you the value stack that you get if you're going to think about partnering with EXP, or if you just want to, connect with me and, whatever, pick my brain or ask me a question, go over some objections, things of that nature. That's what I'm here for. Okay. It's for you guys. So, maybe even share it with someone you think may, think that it's valuable for them, that you'd love to see, meet you on your journey. So you two both can get, involved. Yeah. So that's at Dan the Man Talks Real Estate on YouTube. Also go ahead and you can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on TikTok. That's at Daniel Mesrobian. Facebook, same thing, at Daniel Mesrobian. Just reach out and message me, comment, tell me what you think. Tell me you think this is good. Tell me you think that this is what you could do better. Tell me some objections you want. Tell me some crazy stories you've had. Or, hey, maybe you're in a funk too. And me acknowledging it and acknowledging that I'm in this like shit show right now, mentally and emotionally and physically, well, not really physically, but mentally and emotionally. This muck that I'm swimming through that will pass, but I'm acknowledging it. If that's where you are too, let me know. Let's talk about it. Let's get a dialogue going. And, because again, I'm aware, look, you're not going to get all of this hunky-dory stuff on social media from me. You're going to get where I'm at in life right now. And if it's in a good place, it's going to be in a good place. If it ain't in a good place, it ain't going to be in a good place. But not being in a good place is not permanent. And that's the good news. So just keep that in mind. It's what I'm talking about, Willis. You know what I'm saying? It is real. Life is real. We all have problems. Our problems are real. Nobody's problems are any more or less than anybody else's. We're all dealing with these things as we go. We're in an absolutely insane time right now in this country and in the world. But the good news is that, look, there are people that are around you that can help you, will support you, that want the best for you, want your success. I want your success as much as I hope you want my success. And because your success is my success and my success is your success. So remember that. I sincerely hope that all of you are just crushing it out there and with whatever you're doing, whether it's real estate, a lawyer, accountant, a teacher, a fireman, a policeman, whatever the case is, crush life, make it the best you absolutely can. And at the end of the day, when you put your head on your pillow, you're like, man, I just killed it today. So that's what I want. That's what I hope. And to all of y'all, I sincerely hope you are subscribing and listening to me rant and rave. I appreciate y'all. So next time, until next time, I should say, be well and love your life, y'all.